His Royal Highness Prins Constantijn is working on the technological ecosystem of the Netherlands.
He has a vision to bring innovations to the market, and it's very holistic, and not only regional, but also nationally and internationally.
His contribution to the entrepreneurial climate in the Netherlands comes from the fact that he is a special envoy for techlib.nl. He is very much concerned to attract as much talent as possible, also from abroad. His ambition is to make the Netherlands the best and the fastest growing ecosystem in Europe and in the world, if possible.
I think Constantijn's views are very much in line with the strategy of the UT. It's very international, also very much concerned about societal problems. So he's very much up to date with the latest technologies, but he also has a view on, for example, the legal and the business and the financial aspects that are needed to make an innovation happen.
I believe the relationship with the University of Twente is natural, as we aim to improve the world through innovation and startups that change people's lives for the better.
Some of our programs are designed to stimulate students to be as entrepreneurial as possible, to go outside, interact with companies, graduate there, have their internships. And this is exactly what his philosophy is. No research is such valuable than the research that emerges from real problems, from the industry. And this is exactly what we are doing here at the University of Twente.
I believe an honorary doctorate of the University of Twente will give him the acknowledgement of being an independent and fact-driven facilitator of innovation.
I think Constantijn truly deserves the honorary doctorate. He's very knowledgeable in the area of entrepreneurship and technology transfer. He's very supportive of the University of Twente's vision in this area. He's really determined to become an ambassador for the university, also in the long term.
Because he can bring together people that otherwise would not talk to each other and would not sit around a table.
I request the honorary promoters Jos van Hilligersberg, Professor Design and Implementation of Business Information Systems, Vanessa Evers, Professor of Human Media Interaction, and Maria Jacob, Professor of Enterprise Architecture and Business Information Systems, to escort His Royal Highness Prins Constantijn van Oranje to the stage. Please. I also now request the doctorate board to rise. In its meeting on 16 September 2020, the doctorate board of the University of Twente has decided, by virtue of its authority under Dutch law, to confer the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa on His Royal Highness Prins Constantijn van Oranje for his inspiring drive to foster and promote innovation and entrepreneurship throughout the European Union, in particular for startups using new technologies. I request the honorary promoters to perform the tasks which they have been charged.
By virtue of the power granted to us by law and on behalf of the doctorate board, we promote you, Your Royal Highness Constantijn Christoph Frederik Aschwin, Prins van Oranje-Nassau van Amsberg, tot Doctoris Honoris Causa, and we grant you the rights connected to his doctor's title. In evidence thereof, we clothe you with the kappa of the University of Twente and present you with the diploma signed by the Rector Magnificus and the honorary promoters ratified by the seal of the University of Twente.
On behalf of the University of Twente, I congratulate you, His Royal Highness Prins Constantijn van Oranje, with your honorary doctorate, and would like to invite you to address the audience, and I would like to instruct the doctorate board to be seated again.
Thank you very much, Rector Magnificus, the doctoral board, for standing up and sitting down, which is a hard task, but you did it remarkably well. Also, my honorary promoters, and obviously my wife being present here, because she has sustained me, and she always makes sure that we focus on what's really important, putting the people at the center of systems. This honorary title demonstrates that the UT truly cares about topics that I've been engaged in for many years, that it wants to lead and make a difference, that a joint commitment is the premise for which I've accepted this title. And I was given a few minutes for this speech, but I'm going to use my prerogative now as doctor to actually give my first lecture. But bear with me, it won't be full 45 minutes, but I'm going to extend a bit the prerogative that I was given. If I had even more time, I would have presented you the work of TechLeap and my ideas about innovation and tech policy within the framework of two leading academics in the field, Clayton Christensen and Mariana Mazzucato. I would have cleverly juxtaposed both seemingly opposing views, one based on market pull, the other on government-supported technology push, to conclude that they could actually be mutually supportive. Then I would compare that to what we're doing in the Netherlands and why our policies are flawed. And then what needs to be done, obviously, and to deliver an effective innovation system with high market-creating capacity. However, this thesis will have to wait. There are better uses for the opportunity which was so generously granted to me by the UT. I would like to spend these 10 minutes on a specific piece of the puzzle, particularly concerning the role of universities and the practice that we know as tech transfer. And I'd like to invite you to all close your eyes. I know it's challenging. And if you find this boring, just keep them closed and nobody will realize that you're actually sleeping. Imagine Twente being at the heart of Europe's leading innovation system, strategically connected to other leading international hubs. Here, students all over the globe flock together because it offers a unique combination of scientific excellence and entrepreneurial culture and opportunity. Where many successful deep tech businesses were born, and investors, business, scientists all work together to produce breakthrough technology applications. You may open your eyes again. I've been working on this dream for many years, and others even longer. Not only for the UT, for the Netherlands and as a whole, and for Europe. Much has improved over these last 20 years, but progress is still painfully slow. Recently, the EU and the National Growth Fund have been throwing a lot of money at this dream. Why? Because it has become a dream that actually is an urgent need of our future economic success, for our technological independence, for battling climate change and social inequality, for driving transformations in food, in energy, mobility, computing, health, etc. We seem to see the urgency, considering the billions that are being spent on this, but we have very limited understanding of how to deploy these effectively. In fact, in all of the innovation proposals the National Growth Fund received, the weakest link was the effective transfer of scientific output to scalable socio-economic outcomes. The Netherlands has some of the best universities developing amazing technologies that can have global impact, and some very impressive entrepreneurs building iconic companies, also from here, like Booking.com and Adye and Just Eat Takeaway. However, the two don't always meet. And if they do, we see incredible opportunities transforming into great companies like Crucell, and ASML, and NXP. And we may rejoice in these once-in-a-decade successes, but we have to acknowledge that the engine for impact at scale isn't running yet. And metaphorically speaking, it is as if all the pieces of this engine lay scattered around in a garage, but we're not piecing them together. Now and then a bicycle may emerge from the workshop, but we're left with many spare parts, wondering what we could have built if we would have the right manual. And don't you feel this slight unease that that massive potential to build that engine is not being put to use. That yes, these bikes are nice, but they don't really accelerate. At best, they are bought by foreign producers for their IP. That all these motivated people in the workshop building prototypes, conducting tests and pilots, rarely manage to scale these into new businesses and new industries. There may have been a few cases of success, but where are the Dutch Moderna's, BioNTechs, the new ASMLs, Philips? As a whole, we're failing our entrepreneurial scientists, failing our society and depriving our country and humanity of many breakthrough technologies that never make it into the market or fail to scale. Here, spin-outs don't reach their full potential. Our ministry never made tech transfer a priority. Universities penalize academic careers of entrepreneurs and fail to embrace a culture that celebrates entrepreneurial success and real societal impact at scale. Tech transfer offices are greedy and short-termist in monetizing IP instead of creating the optimal environment for spin-outs to scale. When I talk to spin-out entrepreneurs, they typically talk about their pain and their struggles while trying to take their business out of university instead of the joy of the collaboration that this university should provide for them. I know that by now your brains are stressed in trying to find proof that this isn't the case, that it isn't that bad. You can name a few startups that did really well. We've got Effect Photonics, we've got Demcon, yes, we got Xsense. Proving that actually university is doing a great job. But I tell you, it is not. What we need is a whole different ballgame, requiring not just incremental change, but a paradigm shift. And to directors of other universities and executives here in the room, how much time do you really spend and truly dedicate to how spin-outs turn the scientific insights developed at your institutions into impact or entrepreneurship? Who of you have entrepreneurs on your boards? The good thing is that in places like MIT, in Cambridge, Leuven, Yale, and Berkeley, that they have developed manuals to build that engine, to stay in the garage analogy. Dutch universities could go and get inspiration from these models and adjust them to local circumstances. But hey, we could do much better. We could even go further and create environments that are better than these examples. And I'm very happy to say that actually the University of Twente is leading in initiatives to create better terms for entrepreneurial scientists. However, there's much more to this than just a manual, and I'll come back to this later. It's about a culture of entrepreneurship and impact. It is about embracing an ambition and getting rid of the valorization polarization, which is could be attributed to my colleague Jaron Wijshoed. I think he's here in the audience. But it means we should turn tech transfer into win-win and not a zero-sum game between science and business, and not about turning every scientist into an entrepreneur. It should be based on the deep belief that the university has a role to make impact beyond education and science. If only universities would apply the same curiosity that is the core of great science to really excel at running and turning science into technology, into great businesses at scale. This would require a deliberate choice and cannot be an afterthought. It needs passion, a vision, and drive. More importantly, just think about what we could be as a country. How universities could be at the center of flourishing ecosystems, creating new jobs, new world-leading businesses in areas as semiconductors, in biotech, new energies, materials, lab meat, or medtech. How an entrepreneurial culture doesn't only create more spin-outs, but also better research, attract more talented students, create a virtuous spiral that will make your institutions stronger. It may not be fair of me to be so critical as a bystander. I don't have to fight the system. I don't have to deal with budget allocations, powerful faculties, entrenched cultures and processes. But hey, it's my role to be an outsider, the critical friend, the court jester. If I'd be in your shoes, I would also be struggling and defending the status quo, or at best marginal improvements. Like every CEO in large corporations is struggling to stay ahead of the game and to innovate within the complexity of organizations that are optimized for the one thing that they did best. Your institutions are optimized for education and research, and even delivering that double focus isn't obvious and easy. Excelling in a third priority will be very hard, as tech transfer is something completely different than research and education. So what would this entail? How can the UT and all the Dutch scientific institutions create more spin-outs, increase their success, and generate more impact? And before going to the how, there are some basic notions that we need to accept and agree on. Firstly, that the spin-out or the startup company is the vehicle for disruptive innovation and bringing new technologies to market and scaling it. It's a totally different animal than the tech transfer by licensing to large corporations. Secondly, we need to embrace a permissive environment aimed at spinning out as many ventures as possible, supporting entrepreneurs as Olympian athletes that are struggling to manage the demands on them from the science part, from the education part, and also from the entrepreneurial side. Thirdly, the realization that spin-outs do not return sufficient direct revenues for universities by monetizing IP and owning equity. And fourthly, to accept that if these ventures are successful, and there's a big, big if to this, it will actually create private wealth. That means some people will actually become rich. Celebrate that as a good thing and support a culture of giving back. So how to do that? First, tech transfer offices should either optimize to professionally support ventures where a mature support system is still lacking, the Leuven model, or act as a philanthropic organization aimed at getting technologies out into society. Deal terms should be simple, predictable, fast, efficient, by standardizing agreements, preferably across all academic institutions in the Netherlands and possibly Europe. Don't take equity for IP and only monetize ventures when they are successful. And if you do take equity, please keep common shares below 5% without board seats and other problematic conditions. Do this in a fair manner to compensate the expenses made by the university, but optimize the venture's chances of success by ensuring the founders retain control over the business. Finally, break through the valorization-polarization paradox. Be the example of a culture in which scientific research and impactful entrepreneurship go hand in hand, in which people are trusted to create impact and recognized for doing so, whether they are conducting fundamental research or building a profitable company. Talk about this in your institutions. But as I stated at the beginning of this presentation, optimizing tech transfer by spin-outs is only one element in improving the innovation ecosystem of a country. The Netherlands, the universities play a central role, but are only one of many stakeholders. They cannot do this on their own. Yet, for now. I mean, the ecosystem in the Netherlands is not as mature as Boston, Silicon Valley, or Cambridge. And to turn the Netherlands into a tech transfer leader, the government should also make this a priority. By, for instance, developing a national tech transfer instrument, which could be financed by the National Growth Fund and possibly in collaboration with InvestNL or the Dutch Deep Tech Fund. Co-investing in university campuses and shared R&D facilities that create optimal environments for interdisciplinary collaborations and reduce the capex of spin-outs. Providing structural funding for entrepreneurship initiatives like the Faculty of Impact program. I truly look forward to make this dream come true and to work with you on this initiative. If you can just allow me to be the jester at your courts, then I will keep pushing for a cultural shift that will make us better, and it will make you and your institutions proud of the impact that your breakthrough companies are making here and across the world. As said, this is not an incremental change. It will be a paradigm shift. It requires a willing and open mind, as well as an ambition to stand out. And wouldn't this be a great challenge and to lead for the University of Twente, to lead this challenge and this change. It would be a very big step in the journey that began with Rector Harry van der Kronenberg, building Europe's most entrepreneurial university here in Twente. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you, His Royal Highness, for his critical friend lecture and to share your dream. And dreams are there to be fulfilled. And we really welcome you in our community as an outstanding member, and let's work together to make these dreams and your dreams specific happen. Thank you. I now invite the honorary promoters to escort His Excellency back to the seats.